bonheur, Dieu plein de charme, tu dois régner sur tout.
We're an archive for sport materials. We actually have a number of different kinds of things we collect. And the items that are right here in front of me are just a tiny sample, for example, of some of the materials that we have that relate to what we call the UT Sports Media Collections. Increasingly are encompassing all of the history of UT sport athletics. For example, this item right here, both of these are scrapbooks, belong to Darrell. Darrell was the legendarily famous UT football coach, won national championships. This particular scrapbook here is quite wonderful because it actually details his life. This one, however, is actually more about his work with football and other people that he knew. In 2005, the football team won the national championships. Mac Brown, who had used Darrell to sort of help set the tone for the team and to inspire them, and had made him a vital part of what he was doing, had this particular ring made for Coach Royal. We have one of the best collections, for example, of UT football programs. The covers of football programs changed a lot. Many times the early ones were drawn often by UT students. One area that we have found ourselves focusing more and more on is the area of golf. This is Ben Crenshaw's 1984 Masters Trophy. So the Masters Trophy is made so that it's a replica of the clubhouse in Augusta, Georgia, where he won the trophy. Pros from all over the world would fly into Austin so they could work with Harvey Penick. As he worked with people, Harvey kept notebooks, and he almost always had a little scribbled text notebook, just like this one here. He was approached by a writer from Sports Illustrated, and he said, you know, we ought to write a book about your ideas about golf and training, and which were really for him more ideas about like golf and life. So together, Bud Shrake, the writer, and Harvey found a publisher, and they wrote a book that was called The Little Red Book of Golf. It became an incredible overnight sensation. It has now sold more copies than any other book in the history of sports. When we began the collection, our initial interest was to try to create a place where we would preserve the history of physical culture. And what I'm standing next to right now is one of the things that I would have to say, cherish among our most favorite of all things. And behind me here is a painting of the man who's known as Louis Durlacher, but who was really known professionally. He was a stage professional strongman, and his stage name was Professor Attila. And he had a huge impact on American physical culture because in 1893 he came to America, opened a gym in New York City, started training athletes there, and then actually a little bit later started training women. Those kettlebells are actually the same two kettlebells that are now here on the floor at the Stark Center. Sandow was, in his day, maybe sort of like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of his day. He was known by everybody. He established what many people believe is sort of physical standard for what the male body could be. What I'm holding here are Tommy Kono's medals. Tommy Kono is our most decorated American weightlifter. He won 2 gold medals, 1 silver medal, and we are really thrilled that as part of our outreach toward Olympic studies, that his family decided after he passed away last year that they wanted his materials to come to the Stark Center. One of the interesting things about his life was that because he was a Japanese American, during World War II, he was put into a prison camp. It was actually in prison camp as a kid where he actually learned to lift weights.
Dieu du bonheur, Dieu plein de charme, tu dois régner